Welcome back to the channel from Madagascar, Nosy Bee. So, property ownership. Can you own property in Madagascar as a foreigner? The answer is complicated. It's a yes and it's a no. By law, Madagascar law, you are, as a foreigner, not allowed to own property. Yeah? So, there's the real answer. You can't. However, there are ways around it. You can set up a company, pay your money into a company account, bank account, Malagasy company bank account, and then use that money to buy land or a property or a hotel or whatever you want. Yeah? And then the land or the property is going to be owned by the company of which you're a shareholder. Now, you're allowed to own 49% of the property, and the other 51% has to be owned by law by a Malagasy. So this is where the trust comes in. You need to trust somebody with the 51%. Say you trust your wife, for example, and you end up splitting up with her, right? On the marriage document, like you probably got, you get in Madagascar when you get married, you get options on whether how you want to split the property if you divorce and the assets. And most people go 50-50, yeah? We'll split it 50-50, me Malagasy assets with me wife if we divorce. Me, I've got English assets and I've got Malagasy assets which are all owned by my wife, but if I divorced her, technically I could take her to court and take half of the assets off her. However, I can't take the property off her because, like I say, foreigners can't own property in Madagascar. Right? So I can't take it in a divorce. What I can do is take the money from the property if the wife is willing to sell the property, or if the justice is willing to force her to sell the property and give me 50% of the profits from the property sale. However, I can't see any justice in Madagascar saying, yeah, go on, make her sell the property and give half the money to the foreigner who's probably going to go back to France or wherever he's from with the money. Nah, I don't think that's going to happen, right? So if you build a house and your assets are in the house and you divorce, you might as well say goodbye to the property, in my opinion. If you die and your French relatives or your English relatives, your American relatives want to claim to your will about half her property, well then that's going to be unlikely as well. There's literally no way around that, right? But you can put it in somebody you trust's name. You can put it in a solicitor name. You'll find that solicitors will say, I'll take the 51% of the company. I bet you will, Sonny Jim. I bet you will. Right? But even the solicitors in Madagascar aren't that straight. Some of them are a bit bent, like, and they'll run off with money. They'll run off with assets and stuff. They've done it. I've seen it in the last 10 years. I've seen it. So, how do you own property in Madagascar? Well, what I'd do, personally, I own property. I've got a couple of €100,000 worth of property in Madagascar, in the south, in Tulia, in Nosy Bee. I own this building site here. I'm attempting to buy this property at the moment. I've got land just further up this road, just further up here. I've got loads of land, loads of property. It's all in my wife's name, all of it. Now, obviously, if you've got land in somebody else's name, you need to do the mathematics, yeah? First of all, you need to work out how much life have you got left in you. If you're 72 now, chances are you're going to be dead in 15 years, right? In my opinion. If you're 45, how long have you got? 30 year? 35 year? Right? So you need to work out the length that you've got of life. Versus, you need to work out the cash input. How much you're putting into the property. If you're just going to build if you're going to buy a simple little plot of land, like this one here, and build a little simple hut like that, well then you put in, like, I don't know, let's say you put €5,000 into it, into buying the land and building the little hut, yeah? So the maximum you can lose is €5,000, right? Compare that to your net worth. If you're worth €500,000, well then you're only putting 1% into your Malagasy property, aren't you? And if you lose it, well, you lose 1%. Now, if your whole net worth is 5,000 and you buy that piece of land and build a property and somebody takes it off you, or your wife divorces you, or the government come along and say you can't have that, you're a foreigner, or something like that, then you lose your entire net worth. So you need to work out the risk element. You know, that's what you need to work out. And then versus the trust. Because obviously, if you're going to put your company, for 51% of your company in a Malagasy name, then you've got to trust that Malagasy. Now, you can limit their rights to this. When you're in the solicitor's office, you can say, yeah, they own 51% of the company, but they've got no rights to sell it without my permission. They've got no rights to do anything with that property at all without my permission. But me, I can do anything I want. I can build something, I can knock it down, I can do anything. But I can't sell it without their permission because they're 51% shareholders, yeah? But you can limit their liability, their ability to do anything with that property. So there you go. Personally, I buy land because I can afford to lose it. I build properties because I can afford to lose them if the worst came to the worst. I take the risk. I don't put all my net worth into Madagascar, into property. I'm not going to go put like 50% of my net worth into buying a plot of land on the beach and building a mansion with a swimming pool for $500,000. I'm not going to do it. All right? So there you go. That's pretty much it to owning property. You can own property, but only 49%. If you want, you can get your tricks you could do. You could literally take your friend, get him to buy the land in his name, and then take all the documents. So every single document that's signed by him, done by him, you keep them. So he can never sell the land because he hasn't got any documents. You've got all the paperwork and no documents to it. If it's got a full book though, and it's government land with a full book, there's a chance that it might be a record in the government office that's in his name, and he just applies for a copy, duplicate, full book, and he's got it in his name again. So there's that. Personally, best plan is to rent. If you want to come here and you've got a certain percentage of your net worth, like 10 or 15% that you're willing to risk with true love, putting it in your wife's name, or risk it in your mate's name and get him to sign a contract and you keep all the paperwork, then maybe 15% of your net worth, give it a go, live life. Come to Madagascar, be free, live life. But there's a lot of problems in Madagascar with property, many issues with property. You get people coming out the woodwork saying they own it. If you don't do anything with your land for 20 years, somebody can claim it as theirs. The government can come along and take your land if it hasn't got the right paperwork and something like that. You know, like in Nosy Be, you got sugarcane land. Most of the Nosy Be Islands, sugarcane land. It's owned by a company called Sarama. And some of the land, they haven't released it, but people are still building little houses on it and that. And they could come along, take them to the courts and say, remove that house. It can happen. So be careful what you do in Madagascar, but most of all, live life. If you need a little house, buy a little plot of land. Take a risk. Build a little house. Happy days. That's it. Thanks very much for listening and watching. Bye for now.